In 2025, 55,000 jobs in the United States were cut, and companies said the same thing in every announcement. AI enables leaner structures. Amazon, Workday, Wall Street banks, same message, different logo. And that was just year one. By the end of 2026, the World Economic Forum projects 85 million jobs displaced globally. 85 million. But here's what the headlines aren't telling you. 170 million new jobs are being created at the same time. So the real question isn't whether AI is taking jobs, it's which side of that divide you end up on. And that answer isn't random, it's a choice. But the truth is much crazier than you think. Welcome back. If you watch part 1, you already know the Singularity isn't a movie moment. It's a quiet tide, rising slowly, then all at once. In that video we followed Sarah, an NHS radiographer in Leeds, and Marcus, a startup founder in Austin. Both of them hit the wave. Both of them had to make a choice. In part 2, we're going deeper, because the question everyone is now asking, the one blowing up comment sections and Reddit threads and WhatsApp groups, is this what actually happens to your job? Not in theory, not in a McKinsey report, in practice, in your industry, in your life. Here's what we know right now. POC's 2026 Global AI Jobs Barometer, one of the largest workforce studies ever conducted, analyzed over 1 billion job ads from 6 continents. 1 billion. And what they found breaks the entire AI kills jobs narrative wide open. The companies most exposed to AI, they are raising wages faster, hiring more people, growing productivity at 40% above the companies that are ignoring AI. AI isn't just destroying jobs, it's splitting the entire workforce into 2 tracks. Track 1. People whose skills are being amplified by AI. They are getting richer, faster. Track 2. People whose tasks are being automated by AI. They are being quietly phased out. The terrifying part? Most people don't know which track they're on. And this is where the first crack appears. Let's talk about what AI actually goes after first, because most people assume it's the low-skill jobs, the warehouse workers, the delivery drivers, the people doing the most repetitive physical labor. They are wrong. The first wave of AI job displacement is hitting white-collar workers, people with degrees, people who spent years building careers they thought were safe. Here's why. AI is fundamentally a language and reasoning tool. It doesn't need hands. It doesn't need a body. But it reads. It writes. It analyzes. It summarizes. It codes. All the things a white-collar worker does. A University of Pennsylvania and OpenAI study found that educated white-collar workers earning up to $80,000 a year are among the most exposed to AI displacement. Not the lowest earners, the middle. The people who thought they had done everything right, got the degree, built the career, bought the house. Those are the people getting the email, and the numbers are accelerating. In the first 6 months of 2025 alone, just 6 months, nearly 78,000 tech jobs were directly tied to AI-driven layoffs in the US. That's hundreds of people per day, every single day, losing their jobs to a machine that cost the company $49 a month. But here is the catch. For every person losing their job to AI, there is another person, same industry, sometimes same company, whose career is accelerating faster than anything in the last 50 years. POC found that professionals with specialized AI skills now command salaries up to 56% higher than peers in identical roles without those skills. Same job title, same company, 56% more money. The split is happening right now, quietly, inside every major company in the UK and the US. And the people winning aren't smarter, they aren't luckier. They simply understood one thing earlier than everyone else. AI is not your replacement. AI is your multiplier, but only if you pick up the tool. I'll show you exactly what that looks like through 2 people living it in real time. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Here's what everyone gets wrong about this moment. The conversation always goes one of 2 ways. Side 1 says, AI is going to take everything. We're all doomed. The robots are coming. Side 2 says, every industrial revolution created more jobs than it destroyed. Relax. It'll be fine. Both sides are missing the real story. Because this isn't a simple replacement, it's a restructuring. And restructuring is far more complicated and far more personal than either side admits. Think about what happened to travel agents when the internet arrived. Not all of them disappeared. The ones who understood the internet, who used it to find deals no one else could, who leveraged it to offer better service, they survived and grew. The ones who refused to adapt, they're gone. The same exact thing is happening right now, faster, at a scale the travel agent era never reached. Here's the number that should wake you up. By the end of 2026, 20% of organizations will use AI to flatten their management hierarchy, eliminating over 50% of current middle management positions. 50% of middle management gone. Middle management was the dream for an entire generation of workers. Graduate, get promoted, manage a team, climb the ladder. That ladder is being sawed off from the middle. But here is the hidden layer that nobody's reporting. The most AI-exposed junior roles, the entry-level jobs that AI is rapidly changing, are now 7 times more likely to demand senior-level skills like leadership and strategic thinking. 7 times. AI is compressing the career ladder, not just cutting it. A 23-year-old who truly understands AI tools can now produce the output of a 40-year-old senior manager, which means the ceiling is gone. But so is the safety net, the skills that protect you. Judgment, relationships, creativity, ethical reasoning, leadership are the same skills that were never really taught in school. And the workers who never develop those skills, who spend a decade doing tasks that AI can now do in seconds, are the ones getting the call. Not because they failed, because no one told them the game was changing. Which leads us to the most shocking discovery of all. Let me show you what this actually looks like for 2 real people. UK POV, James, junior financial analyst, London. James is 26. He works at a mid-sized investment firm in Canary Wharf. He graduated with a 2001 in economics from Birmingham, spent 2 years in the graduate scheme, works 60-hour weeks. He is good at his job. His core task, pulling financial data from multiple sources, building Excel models, writing summary reports for senior analysts. He does this every day. He is fast. He is accurate. On a Tuesday in February, his manager calls him into a meeting room. The firm has been testing a new AI tool for 3 months. It can pull the same financial data, build the same models, and write the same reports in under 4 minutes. James's job takes him 4 hours on a good day. His manager doesn't fire him. Not yet, but the message is clear. The firm is restructuring the analyst function. 2 of the 6 junior analysts will move into a new AI oversight role. The other 4 will be let go at the end of the quarter. James has 8 weeks to prove he's one of the 2. Here's what James does next, and this is the part that matters. He doesn't panic. He doesn't update his CV and start applying elsewhere. He does something most people wouldn't think of. He asks his manager for access to the AI tool. He spends 3 weeks learning it, not just using it, but understanding its weaknesses, where it gets data wrong, where its models make assumptions a human analyst would catch, where its reports miss the nuance that a senior partner cares about. By week 6, James has built a hybrid workflow. He uses the AI for the mechanical work, data pulls, model templates, first drafts. He then layers his judgment on top, catching the errors, adding the context, reframing the conclusions. His output is now 12 reports a day. The AI alone produces 4. James plus AI produces 12, and they're better. His manager picks him, obviously. And 3 months later, James is managing the AI tool for the whole team. His title has changed. So is his salary. He is 26 years old. He now does the work of a 38-year-old senior analyst and gets paid accordingly. He didn't beat AI. He hired it. US POV. Diane, high school teacher, Cleveland, Ohio. Diane has been teaching English for 19 years. She is beloved by her students. Her lessons are thoughtful and warm. She has never feared technology, but this year is different. Her school district rolls out an AI curriculum assistant. It can generate personalized lesson plans for every student. It grades essays in seconds with detailed feedback. It answers student questions at 2 in the morning when Diane is asleep. 3 of her colleagues in the department are not having their contracts renewed next year. The district is optimizing staffing levels. That's the phrase in the email. Diane reads it in the staff room. She finishes her coffee. She goes to class. But here's what Diane has that the AI tool doesn't. She knows that Marcus in the 3rd row hasn't handed in an assignment in 2 weeks. Not because he's lazy, but because his parents are going through a divorce and he's sleeping at his grandmother's house. She knows that Priya in the 2nd row is brilliant but terrified of speaking in class. She needs one-on-one encouragement, not an AI prompt. She knows that the reason half the class isn't engaging with the novel isn't the book, it's the way it's being framed. She changes the angle of the lesson on the fly. The room shifts. The students lean in. No AI tool built in 2026 can do any of those 3 things. So Diane adapts. She takes everything administrative that used to consume her evenings, lesson planning, marking drafts, generating discussion questions, and hands it to the AI. She now spends that time on the things only she can do. The human moments, the relationships, the instinct. Her students' performance improves. Her department head notices. She is promoted to head of curriculum for the district. The 3 colleagues who weren't renewed, 2 of them had spent 19 years doing exactly what the AI now does, efficiently, but without connection. Diane spent 19 years doing what AI can't. She just didn't know that was her superpower until the machine showed up. The Framwell-Bork. Which sig of the divide are you on? James and Diane are not exceptional people. They are ordinary people who made one decision at the right moment. They looked at the AI tool and asked the right question. Not, will this replace me? But what does this do that I don't have to anymore? And what does that free me up to do? That reframe is everything. Here's how to figure out which track you're currently on. Ask yourself 3 questions right now. Question 1. What do I do every day that is mechanical? If you can describe your daily tasks as pull data, write report, answer emails, fill forms, schedule meetings, those are automated tasks. AI is doing them or will do them soon. Not a judgment, just a fact. Question 2. What do I do that requires a human in the room? Relationships, persuasion, ethical calls, creative leaps, reading a situation, motivating a person, managing conflict. These are not automatable. These are your moat. Identify them, name them, develop them deliberately. Question 3. Am I using AI tools yet? If the answer is no, or a little bit sometimes, you are already behind. Not fatally, but the gap is growing every month. On-screen coup. Simple checklist graphic. 3 questions. Boxes to tick. Minimalist design. The workers who survive and thrive in this moment are not the most talented. They are the most adaptive. POC's data proves it. Companies using AI most aggressively are growing headcount faster and paying wages higher than companies that aren't. The Singularity is not a death sentence for workers. It is a filter, and the filter is brutal. Not because it punishes incompetence, but because it punishes inertia. So, what should you do about this? Here's the truth. The AI singularity is not coming for your job. It is coming for the parts of your job that you shouldn't have been doing anyway. The question is whether you're ready to let go of those parts and double down on the parts that are undeniably, irreversibly human. Bonus fact. Professionals with AI skills right now are earning 56% more than peers without them. In the same role, at the same company, that gap is growing every quarter. Drop your answer in the comments. Are you James, using AI to multiply your output? Or are you Diane, discovering your human edge? Or are you still figuring it out? Subscribe now, because part 3 is the one you cannot miss. The 5 specific AI tools that James and Diane used, and exactly how to start using them yourself this week.